A strong mind is not a gift from creation, but the result of training like a tree trunk shaped amidst storms. Picture an ancient tree in the middle of a thunderstorm. The wind may lash its branches, the leaves may scatter wildly, yet the trunk still stands its roots, sinking deep into the earth, unmoved amid the turmoil. Likewise, those with resilient hearts are not untouched by pain. They have learned how to stand upright within suffering. They understand that no wind can uproot a soul that knows how to root itself. Life does not promise serenity. There will be days heavy as tempests, nights long with worry and loss. But the line that separates the fallen from the risen does not lie in circumstance. It lies in how they face it. The weak are swept away by fear. The strong breathe with the storm, letting each breath become an anchor that holds them in the present moment. This strength does not come from talent, titles, or luck. It comes from the depth of the mind, where stillness is forged through adversity. In Buddhism, this is the cultivation of three qualities: mindfulness, compassion, and wisdom. Mindfulness helps us see clearly each movement of the mind, like a ferryman observing the river's flow without being carried by it. Compassion keeps us soft, preventing wounds from hardening into hatred. Wisdom is the lamp that illuminates reality, allowing us to see that suffering itself is part of the path to awakening. When these three pillars unite, a person becomes unmoved amid the current of life, not from indifference, but from understanding. They know everything changes. The wind will calm, the rain will stop, and only the tranquil mind will remain. A strong mind is not one that has never trembled, but one that has trembled enough to know itself deeply. Like a lake after the storm, though waves rise, the water will settle when the wind is gone. Those who have trained their minds no longer seek peace outside. They create peace from within. That is the true root of strength, a strength that needs no noise, no proof, only presence. For when the roots grow deep, no storm can make you fall. The mind is not only built by what we do, it is also worn down by what we unconsciously repeat. There are habits that seem harmless, but quietly drain our mental strength day by day. They are not loud like failure, nor dramatic like tragedy. They slip in, quietly seep through, gently weakening the will without us noticing. A person may meditate, read, or seek advice yet. If they keep the habits that cloud the mind, every effort becomes a patch upon the surface of water. Buddhism calls this varng tarp, old mental patterns revolving endlessly like the wheel of karma. To find peace, one must first see what causes unrest. On this journey, we will illuminate 6 familiar yet dangerous habits, the 6 winds that shake the tree of the mind. The first clinging to a negative lens, allowing one dark thought to become a fogged glass that hides the light. The second, complaining about what lies beyond control, like one clutching a hot coal hoping to burn another, forgetting one's own hand is being scorched. The third, suppressing the true inner voice, living as who others expect, until the soul withers in silence. The fourth, blaming others, or fate blind, to the power of transformation that lies within. The fifth, dreaming of the future, while forgetting to act in the present illusion in place of direction. And the sixth, neglecting genuine connection, leaving the heart lonely amid the crowd. Each habit is like dust settling on the mirror of the mind, dimming the reflection of wisdom. But the good news is, like dust, they can be wiped away. We do not need to fight them, only to recognize and release them. Recognition is the first light of freedom. Letting go is the first step of strength. This journey is not about enduring life, but transforming the way we experience it. When the mind is clear, suffering ceases to be a burden and becomes a quiet teacher leading the way. By recognizing these 6 habits, we open the door to a new way of living where peace is not found in avoidance, but in understanding. This is no empty promise of an easy life, but an invitation to live awake, to look directly at the root of suffering, and learn day by day to stand steady amid the storms of change. Are you ready to step through that door? Because sometimes with just one clear look, your entire inner world begins to change. Imagine walking through the world with a dark veil over your eyes, not because the world itself is dark, but because the lens you wear has gathered dust. A blooming flower seems ordinary, a smile feels distant. That is how the mind becomes distorted by negativity, seeing life through filters of loss, fear, and doubt. In Buddhist teaching, the mind is likened to a clear mirror. It is pure by nature, reflecting reality as it is. Only when it is clouded by anger, resentment, or pessimism does it turn opaque. The mirror is never broken. It only needs to be cleaned. Each time you cling to a negative thought, remember it is only a passing cloud drifting across the sky of awareness, not your true nature. To cleanse that dust, the Buddha taught metta, the meditation of loving kindness. Begin with a simple wish: may I be safe, may I be at peace. When compassion arises, the current of the mind begins to change direction. From yourself it extends to loved ones, to strangers, even to those who once hurt you. That is not weakness, but strength, the power to choose healing over hatred. Each blessing becomes a drop of clear water that cools the fire of anger and washes away sorrow's dust. And when the mind regains its clarity, you realize pain did not come to destroy you, but to awaken you. The second habit that weakens the mind is constant complaining about what you cannot control. Imagine holding a burning coal, thinking you are punishing someone, yet it is your own hand that burns. Complaining repeats dissatisfaction. It does not improve the world, it only burdens the heart. Buddhism calls this the second arrow. The first arrow is pain from circumstance. The second is the suffering we create in reaction. The first you cannot avoid, but the second is self-inflicted. When it rains, you may curse the sky or open your umbrella and walk letting the sound of rain become music. Acceptance is not surrender. It is the wisdom of one who understands that resisting reality only exhausts the soul. When you let go of negativity and stop complaining, you reclaim the energy once lost. You are no longer dragged by another's moods or yesterday's storms. You learn to breathe through chaos and smile through difficulty. Because truly, what causes your pain is not the wind, it is how you resist it. And once you stop resisting, that same wind becomes the force that carries you forward. Within every human being lives a quiet voice, not of words, but of feeling the honest rhythm of the heart. Over time, that voice gets buried under layers of fear, polite pretense, or the hunger for approval. We choose silence when we should speak, smile when we are hurting, believing this keeps the peace. But silence for too long makes us lose the sound of ourselves. A strong mind is not one that represses truth, but one that speaks it with wisdom. In Buddhism, this is right speech, words that are true, kind, and purposeful. It teaches not only how to speak, but how to awaken before speaking. Imagine a chest of treasures inside you, each gem a feeling, belief, or truth you hold dear. When locked away, these jewels cannot shine, they turn to weight. To speak is not to expose, but to free. When you express your truth with compassion, you do not wound. You create space for understanding. A word spoken at the right time from the right heart can dissolve conflict, heal misunderstanding, and set both souls free. Sometimes you do not need to speak to others, only to yourself. Write down what you carry within, not to complain, but to see clearly. Writing is a form of meditation, a breath for the mind. When pen meets paper, the fog of emotion begins to clear and truth reveals itself. Once your heart is clear, your words naturally become pure. Before you speak, ask yourself, is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? If all three are yes, speak. If even one is no, stay silent, for conscious silence can be stronger than 1,000 careless words. Speaking your truth is not an act of ego, but of authenticity. When you dare to be honest, you no longer need masks to please others. You do not speak to prove yourself right, but to express what is pure and real within. And mysteriously, when you become truthful with yourself, the world begins to be truthful with you. People feel that energy, no defense, no judgment, only sincerity. Thus, speaking the truth is not impulsive. It is a sacred act of mindfulness. It is the harmony of courage and compassion. When you speak truthfully, you not only free yourself, but open the door for others to be real too. And in this noisy world, sometimes one honest word is enough to begin a lasting peace. Imagine climbing a steep hill with a heavy sack of stones on your back. Each stone is a story you've told to justify your pain. I suffer because of them. I failed because of circumstance. I can't because no one supports me. The higher you climb, the heavier it feels. Not because of the slope, but because of the weight you chose to carry. That is the habit of blame, one of the strongest chains binding the human mind. In Buddhist teaching, blame arises from ignorance, for it makes us forget the creative power within every choice we make. When we constantly look outward to criticize, we lose mastery over our inner world. We think we're punishing others, but in truth we are poisoning ourselves with resentment. The energy of blame is the energy of a victim. It keeps us still waiting for the world to change, while the key to change lies in our own hands. Buddhism calls this karma not punishment, but the mirror of our every thought, word, and deed. When we understand the law of cause and effect, we stop asking, "Who made me suffer?" and begin asking, "What am I creating?" Letting go of blame does not mean excusing another's wrongs. It means freeing yourself from the power of the past. Forgiveness is not for them. It is to release your heart from the old story. Every time you say, "I take responsibility for this," you don't weaken, you grow stronger. Because only those who claim responsibility have the power to change. The practice begins with awareness. When your mind seeks fault, pause and ask, "What can I learn here? What can I do differently?" Each question shifts you from victimhood to authorship. And when you step into that space, the sky widens. You no longer drown in the story of right and wrong. You observe life as a flowing river, seeing cause and effect, clearly choosing your response with wisdom. A strong person is not one who's never been hurt, but one who refuses to be defined by it. They don't search for who to blame, they use pain as fuel for growth. When you stop blaming, you stop handing the steering wheel of your life to others. You reclaim it and begin to steer the ship in your own direction. Blame is a way of fleeing the present. Responsibility is the way of returning to it. Once the mind sees this, every hardship becomes a lesson, every wound a doorway to wisdom. And from that moment on, you no longer ask why life is hard, you smile and whisper, "Thank you. Because of this, I am stronger." Some people spend their whole lives imagining a radiant future, yet never take a single real step in the present. They live inside beautiful dreams where everything comes easily, no effort, no sacrifice. That is the sweet trap of illusion, a place where the mind is comforted, but the will falls asleep. Buddhism calls this mongtung, a subtle delusion that confuses imagination with clear seeing. Those with strong minds do more than dream. They envision with action. They don't just see the destination. They see every step, every obstacle, every ounce of effort required to get there. Imagine a musician dreaming of performing on a grand stage. If he only fantasizes about applause, lights, and fame, that's illusion. But if he envisions himself in a small room practicing each chord until his fingers ache, replaying a melody until it's perfect, that is visualization, imagination, anchored in action. An awakened person does not dream idly. They dream with their feet on the ground. They know dreams don't come true by magic, but by directed, mindful, consistent effort. When you learn to face reality without losing hope, your dream becomes a compass, not a cage. And when you act with clarity, each small step becomes meditation, body, mind, and intention moving as one. The sixth habit, nurturing deep connection, is the foundation of inner resilience. A person can be strong in solitude, but no one awakens in isolation. The Buddha spoke of Sangha, the community of practitioners who walk the path together, supporting one another in mindfulness. In modern life, that means being fully present with others, not just nearby, but truly with them. Think of a once vibrant garden full of flowers and life. If left untended, even fertile soil will wither. Human relationships are the same. When we stop caring, stop listening, stop giving attention, the connection quietly fades. In a noisy world, looking into someone's eyes and truly listening becomes an act of sacredness. No advice is needed, just presence. That alone allows the other person to feel seen, understood, and safe. Nurturing connection is itself a form of meditation. When we give full attention, the mind becomes still. When we listen without judgment, the heart opens. Each encounter becomes a chance to plant a seed of compassion for others and for ourselves. Because in the end, mental strength does not come only from standing tall alone, but also from love, from the hands that once held ours steady through the storms of life. There was once a lush forest that burned to ashes in a fierce fire. The trees fell, the ground turned black, and it seemed as though life had vanished. But soon, from the ashes, the first green shoots emerged, stronger, deeper rooted, more alive than before. Nature does not resent the fire because it knows flames are necessary for renewal. Likewise, failure does not come to destroy you, it comes to recreate you. In Buddhism, there is no notion of absolute mistake, only causes, conditions, and learning. Every fall is a meditation, teaching us to release the ego, to see impermanence, and to steady the mind beyond gain and loss. Yet, humans fear failure as they fear the dark. We hide from it, avoid it, or blame it, forgetting that within darkness, wisdom first begins to sprout. When things go wrong, instead of asking, "Why me?" try asking, "What is this teaching me?" That question is the lamp that turns pain into insight wounds, into understanding. The wise do not run from failure. They walk through it, eyes open, heart unclosed. Failure is a mirror, showing us where we are still weak, still clinging, still deceived by illusion. And when we dare to look into it, we grow not from victory, but from the courage to face ourselves. Think of the potter when his clay pot cracks, he does not curse or quit. He gathers the fragments, grinds them back into earth, adds water, and shapes anew. That is the art of living, to use mistakes as material, not as a reason to stop. Practice begins with 3 simple steps. First, pause and breathe, so the fire of emotion does not burn away reason. Second, observe failure as a friend without judgment or denial. Ask yourself, what am I clinging to? What can I learn? Third record, the lesson, no matter how small. Writing it down is not merely remembering. It is realization. I have walked through this, and I understand. Every failure carries the seed of wisdom, but that seed only grows in soft soil, the soil of self-forgiveness. Remember, compassion is not weakness. It is the fuel that helps you rise again. When you can look at failure with gentle eyes, it stops being an enemy and becomes your teacher. And one day, looking back, you will see the very things that once made you fall were the steps that made you strong. Like the forest after the fire, you will never be the same, not because of loss, but because you have grown deeper, steadier, and more luminous than ever before. Mental strength is not measured by how calm you appear, but by your ability to stand firm when no one is watching. And the 6 habits you have just explored are 6 doors leading you home to the inner peace that comes not from ease but from understanding. Let go of negativity so your mind becomes light as a cloud. Stop complaining so your breath can return to stillness. Speak your truth so your soul can breathe freely. Release blame so you can reclaim the wheel of your life. Dream less, act more, and nurture genuine connections so you never feel alone in a noisy world. Finally, welcome failure as the purifying flame, for no wisdom is born from comfort. These principles are not theories. They are the art of conscious, living the path to training a steady mind amid the storms of life. A strong mind does not seek to prove itself. It simply observes, accepts, and acts from wisdom. When you begin the practice, do not chase instant results. True strength grows quietly like roots beneath the soil unseen, yet it is what keeps you standing when storms arrive. And remember, you are not broken, you are becoming. Every challenge is not an ending, but but a turning point guiding you back to your deepest nature, where peace has always been merely hidden beneath layers of fear, worry, and resentment. When you gently wipe those layers away, the light of wisdom will shine on its own. Choose one small action today, just one. Maybe sit in silence for 3 minutes before your day begins. Maybe write down something you know you need to release. Maybe forgive yourself for a mistake long past. Each small act is a brick in the home of inner peace. Repeat it, and it becomes habit. Sustain it, and it becomes nature. Embody it, and it becomes strength. If something in these words touched you, if even one sentence made you pause, that is the first step of awakening. Because change does not begin out there. It begins in the moment you realize you can be different. And when you are different, the world changes with you. For the mind is the root, and the world its reflection. When the mind is still, the winds of life become only the song of the present. So rise, take a deep breath, look back at how far you've come, and take your next step with clear eyes, soft heart, and unshakable will. Be the one who plants peace amid chaos, who keeps the light alive through the night. Because in every mindful breath you are not merely living, you are becoming your true self.